I'm not really sure. I think it's 31 years. I joined in 1987, 11th of August.
Since I was 17, so April the 1st, 1986. Yeah, so 30, oh, I don't know, 30 odd years.
I joined the MOD as a temporary job for the summer after I'd finished at Leeds Poly to save enough money to travel around Europe, and I ended up having to borrow money off a bank to buy a car to get to and from work, and I've been in debt ever since. I've never managed to pay everything off, so that I could just travel. So, and then pay, get married, families, children, paying for them to go places instead of you. But hey, my first job in the MOD, I worked in what was called a public relations office, which was a bit like a press office, and I looked at getting involved in sort of like public relations and press for different companies. And in particular, at the time, I was really interested in motorsport. And there was a lot of motorsport around near Banbury where we lived at the time. And so I wanted to go and work in public relations for like in Formula One teams and things like that. That was what I wanted to do, but it didn't happen.
I was trained to be a graphic designer, but the company that I was working for was started to go bust, and so started laying people off. And it was a small company, and eventually there was just me and the boss's son working there. So I figured, probably me that's going to go next. So I probably need to look for another job. So I joined the MOD. I found a job, joined the MOD, with the intention that I would eventually go back into graphic design. But 30 odd years later, it just didn't happen.
Most of it's been good. There's some ups and downs, but it's quite good. I've done lots of different jobs in the MOD. So although I've worked for the MOD for 31 years, I haven't done the same job for 31 years. I've done different jobs. Some of them have been pretty exciting. So I've got to fly around in aeroplanes and ride in the back of tanks, and sort of when I was younger, if you like. But as I've been there longer and got more senior, it's a little bit more office bound now than I'd like. I'd like to make things. I wish I could make things. I've pushed paper for a long time, so I've made paper mountains. But it'd be quite nice to actually make something that you could actually see.
My intention is always on a Monday to start work at 8 o'clock and finish at 4 o'clock, okay, with a half-hour lunch. However, I never get there at 8 o'clock. I'm always late. I work flexi, so I don't get in till like 8:30. So then I think, oh no, now I've got to work till 4:30. So that's okay. But then I get in, check my emails, work my way through my emails, then look at my to-do list. I always do a to-do list on a Friday, so I know straight away what we need to do on a Monday. See if I've got any deadlines. I have a meeting with my boss and the team to think about what our priorities are for the coming week. So sort of work out how we're going to fit those in during the week. And then I have lunch at lunchtime, normally about 12 o'clock. If it's cold, then I'm allowed to eat it at my desk. So if I have salad, I can eat it at my desk. If it's hot, then I have to go to the cafe because there's no hot food allowed on the floor plate. And then work in the afternoon, obviously, and then plan to leave at 4:30. Never leave at 4:30. Then it gets to 4:45. Then it gets to 5 o'clock, and then I think, oh no, I've got to get home. So then finally leave about 5 o'clock. Get home about 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish.
I work in a team at the moment. I work in a team of about 100 people, and if you like, there's about 8 branches in that team, and I'm the head of one branch. And in my team, so there's my team of 10, or my branch has got 10 people in it, and then there's a team of 100. So I'm in charge of what's called project controls. And you get engineers and project managers and corporate services and commercial are all different branches. Usually what happens on a Monday is usually get in on a Monday, say good morning to everybody, find out that they're all okay and everything's all right, have a quick look at the emails, and then the first thing we tend to do is the heads of branches have a meeting that we actually call prayers. Now we don't go and pray, actually it's a diary check. So we check all our calendars for the week. So who's going to be there, what's happening, if anyone's visiting. So we work out what our priorities are for that week. We then might say, well, if we've got people out, people that are visiting, people that are leaving. So we'll do a diary. So that's sort of like a typical sort of Monday morning. And then after prayers, it's like, right, then it's actually get on with the day.
You learn from other people because you saw terrible knife crime yourself, which is why you set up the charity you set up.
When I first joined, I used to probably change jobs every sort of 3 years. So I did different jobs. I worked in London in main building, which is like the Ministry of Defence building in London. And then I worked at United States Air Force Base. I worked with the British Army. I worked in a munitions depot. So I got to travel around. I got to go to Germany. I worked in Andover for a while.
I don't even have my own desk. We work on a big floor plate, big open plan floor plate. Not even the most senior person in there has his own office. Everybody sits out in the main floor plate area, and we hot desk. So you have to book your desk in advance. You can book it like a couple of weeks in advance. So you have what's known as centres of gravity. So you can book within your centre of gravity. So you just try and always sit in your centre of gravity. But yeah, you have to clear your desk at the end of every single day. So yeah, so you put all your stuff into your locker, and then every day you get all your stuff out of your locker. So that's the worst bit about it. I hate that bit about it. I like having my own desk. Not my own office. I don't like having my own office because that's too lonely. There's people that have to commute a lot worse than me. It was better when it was at Yeovilton, before we moved into Yeovil, when we worked at RNAS Yeovilton, because that was literally 50. I could do it in 15 minutes. So when I used to have to pick Lewis up, I could literally turn off my computer and be at the school gates in 15 minutes if I floored it. But now, because it was all country roads, back roads and stuff, whereas now it's shit, traffic is rubbish. So although it's less distance, it now takes me half an hour, plus parking is really a long way away now. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain. So it's not as great, but hey.
We have what's called a performance appraisal report, or PAR, PAR, full of acronyms in the MOD, Ministry of Defence. And the performance appraisal review or report, it just seems to be so complicated, and pretty much what it used to be, years ago, it used to be a way of telling people whether they were doing a decent job and what they could do to improve, whether you thought they were ready to get promoted. But now it has been linked to their pay. So depending on what mark you get, depends on how much more pay you get each year. And so it's become really emotional for people, and really important. But I don't think people feel as not necessarily the best people that get recognised, and I really, really don't like it. I really object to it. You know, the thing that a lot of people like, or used to like, is not so much the same now, is you get a pension, you get a good pension, but that's not really a perk. In terms of perks, I suppose there were things like the variety of work that you can do, but I'm not sure that's a perk as such. So you don't really get anything for nothing. So you don't get a company car or healthcare. I mean, I got to go on what was called an indulgence flight to America, because the RAF used to fly to Washington DC 3 times a week, and they would, if they had spare seats, you could apply to go on them, and it used to cost, I think it was 15 quid. So I paid 15 quid and went to America, so that was like a perk, if you like. But you know, so, and there was just, you know, just fun times, I suppose.
In my little team, there's 2 other people. So there's my boss and my colleague. So my boss is Louise and my colleague is Andy. But I work in a bigger team, so I work in the Wildcat delivery team, which has about 100 people in it. They're all different kind of what's called functions. So there's engineers, and finance people, logistics people, and project controls, project managers. So there's all different sort of specialisms in that team, and I'm in the business team, so I sort of coordinate all of them.
And I spend a lot of time, too much time in meetings for my liking. I need to spend more time getting shit done. So last week was ridiculous. I had 3 days where I think 2 of the days I only had an hour when I wasn't in a meeting. So to actually get anything done is really difficult because you literally don't have any free time. Yeah, I've had an office for quite a lot of my career, actually. My first job, I didn't have an office, but then pretty much I probably spent a lot of my career, I shared an office when I was in London as well, but there's 2 of us in it. No, now I'm on literally what's called an open floor plate. So we literally have about a 2-story building that's got 3 teams in it. We're 1 team looking after the Wildcat helicopter, and so upstairs there's about 200 people. So there's 100 for Wildcat and 100 for Apache. They look after the Apache helicopter, and then downstairs there's another 200 people, and there's probably about 150 look after Merlin helicopter, and then there's another 50 that are almost sort of like they don't belong to one team. They're what we call a shared service. So it might be senior commercial people or IT, like the IT crowd, that sort of type stuff, where they actually support everybody rather than just one team. I've got a pretty good team, and I keep it ticking over. And a lot of people sort of go, "Oh, our team's it's easy for us. You know, we haven't got any problems." Well, part of that is because we actually manage our people really well, so that we don't have problems that we don't have to solve, which other teams don't. They piss their staff off and end up with a few disasters that they've then got to sort out.
Every year, the civil service does a big questionnaire, a big survey called the Employee Engagement Survey, and it looks at things that how people feel about where they work, and one of my tasks is to raise the morale of people within our team. So that's why I have to do like lots of organise and arrange team events and social events and stuff like that to try and boost people's morale.
We have got a kitchen. In fact, there's 4 kitchens in the building. So there's 4 kitchens for 4 teams. So the kitchen, quite a few people end up meeting in there. But we're even luckier on the top floor at the end of our building. We actually have a coffee shop. So we have like a Costa. It's not Costa's, but it's a bit like a Costa's coffee where you can sit down and have a coffee and a pastry or whatever, and you can go in there and heat your lunch up in a microwave and eat your lunch. So that's where people generally meet, or you literally just meet people, roaming around and saying hi.
An events organiser or a wedding organiser? No, not a wedding organiser, because that's too much responsibility. So yeah, just maybe like a conference organiser in a hotel, organising conferences in hotels. Yeah, that would be a good job. But I like dealing with people. I like, it's quite nice doing an event. It's like you kind of see an end result. So although it's sort of an administrative thing, you're dealing with people, but you see an end result, you see like a finished product. Whereas there's not many admin jobs where you actually see a finished product. It's kind of, they're just always ongoing and progressing, and yeah, so that's quite good.
The commute now is not too bad, I suppose. I mean, I only commute 7 miles now. When I first used to go to work, it was before I could drive a car. I used to have to catch a bus into work, and then I used to commute into London, which was like 2 hours bloody each way. Now it's only 7 miles. I'm a little bit pissed off because when we moved down here, it was 7 miles to where I worked there, and it was an air station, and it's a real little country lanes and dead easy and quick to get to. And now we've moved to go and work alongside industry in Yeovil, and it's right in the middle of Yeovil. So every morning, getting to the outskirts of Yeovil is really easy. So the first 5 miles